Welcome to the 45th video in our series about Unix tools. In this video, I will show you more about the GDB debugger. But first, let's review some of what we have recently learned. To start the debugger on a program called Bob, you would do gdb and then the program name, Bob. Before you actually run the program, you need to set any breakpoints. Those are places to stop the program and let you do some debugging things. You have to set those with the B command. The easiest way to set a breakpoint is to set it on a function name. For instance, to break when the greet function starts, type B space greet inside the debugger. To start the program running, you use the run command, because when you first start the debugger, the program is not running. It's waiting for you to set breakpoints. But after you've set your breakpoints and you're ready to run the program, type run. And the program will run until one of three things happens. When you reach a breakpoint, it will stop and let you do more debugging. If the program ends normally, it will stop and you can quit or you can run it again. And finally, number 3, the program can crash if you divide by 0 or if you try to dereference a null pointer. The program could crash and that will return to the debugger and let you investigate. Like I said, once you reach a breakpoint, you can use C to continue running, or you can use S to single step line by line at the C source level. But normally you wouldn't want to single step all the way to the end of the program. You would single step for a few statements, and then once you understand where the program is going in the source code, you'd use C to continue running until the program ends normally. Okay, that's our review. What are we going to do now? We're going to dig in there and try to solve some of the problems from the previous video. One of the problems from the previous video was when we ran GDB and we set some breakpoint, it seemed to work well, but we didn't have a way to list the breakpoints. So let's go into GDB on hello. Let's do a list. And you see that list will show the file you're in. What if I want to list some other file? And you say, what other file? Remember, we have helpers.c as another file. Well, can we list helpers.c? And it says, I don't know that function. But if you put a colon, it says, I need lines. So at this point, you get frustrated and you might say help list, and it says list comma 1, list specified function or line with no argument, list 10 or more lines around the previous listing. And you can do file line num to list lines around that file, or you can ask for a function. So let's say list helpers.c, and we want to look at the greet function. Okay, and you can see it worked well. Even though if I do just a plain list, it will list this file and it says, hey, I already listed it. So let's do a list comma 1, and it says, wow, there we go. That didn't show me much, but there's the rest of the file. So let's get out, go back in. Whenever you get confused, that's the smart thing to do, is to go out, go back into GDB and say, okay, let's set a breakpoint on main, which is fairly common, and we're going to run. And it stops when we hit main, and we know that's breakpoint 1, and we say, are there other breakpoints? What are the breakpoints? And at the end of the previous video, I couldn't tell you, but now I know. We could say info break and it lists the breakpoints. Breakpoint number 1 is a breakpoint, and it tells you it's the function main, and this is where it is, hello.c line 5. And it tells you I already hit that once. Wonderful. We can set a breakpoint with B. We can query the breakpoint list with info. How do we remove a breakpoint? And it turns out you can say delete 1, because that's the number here. And then when we do info break, there are no breakpoints at all. So set it with break, remove it with delete, list it with info break. Good. What about the other problem we had with this just mind-bogglingly ugly colorization? If you put this on the projector, nobody can read main. Okay, it's that stupid gold, low contrast color, and the green's not much better. So we looked at the command line options using the command line and the minus help. We couldn't find anything about colors, but I did a search on the internet and they said try this: set style enabled off. And I didn't get anything back, so let's type in info break. But remember, we removed all the breakpoints, so let's set a breakpoint on main and try info break again. The ugly colorization is gone as the Unix gods intended. It's black and white, easy to read, high contrast. It would look good if you printed on the laser printer. It would look good on the projector. It looks good on your screen. Please, if you're a developer, make sure there's an easy way that's documented to turn off colorization, because colorization is just plain wrong if you print on paper or if you put it on a projector, or if you're like me, you're older than 21 years old and your eyes aren't 20/20, they aren't perfect. You need a good, high contrast, easy to read, and that colorization is a nightmare. It would also be bad if you were colorblind. So, what have we learned? We've learned about info breakpoint. We've learned about delete breakpoint by the number. We've learned about set style enabled off. But we're going to have to do that every time we start GDB. Watch. If I run it again and I break main and I info breakpoints, it got those nasty colors again. How do we tell GDB every time I run I don't want any colorization? Well, it turns out that there's a special file GDB reads when it starts called gdbinit, and you can do something with that. It's in your home. So let's see if we have one already. We do not, but we can create one. And we'll put that command that we always want to run. And you can list more than one, but we only have the one command right now. Now, let's run GDB again. Let's break on main and info breakpoints, and you can see colorization is off. It's not off when you first start because it hasn't read that magic file yet, but as soon as you start doing any real work, colorization has been disabled. What have we accomplished? We've disabled the colorization. We have learned how to list the breakpoints. We have learned how to delete breakpoints. And again, there it is. We can verify that the delete worked. And just doing those simple things has used up the allotted time for this video. But those are important things. We needed to know them. Please come back next time and I'll show you more about debugging. Thank you for listening.